Hello everybody, so we are going to be going over the elements of art. Again, this is by Elise. And here are some of the techniques that we're going to be going over. So our students are going to be able to expand visual literacy skills using critical thinking. So we are going to do that by identifying elements of art, including, but not limited to, line, shape, color, and form. Here are my learning goals. Students will recognize the elements of art in Kadinsky's circles. Learning objectives. Students can identify the elements of art in pre-existing contemporary visual literature. So, starting off, I want us to ask ourselves a simple question. What are some ingredients we use for a cake? So we already had some students write out some suggestions. We got eggs, flour, sugar, and maybe some frosting. So yeah, those are some elements that we use within a cake. I don't think I could consider it a cake without some frosting. It might be considered maybe bread. Similarly, without eggs, maybe we could say it's some other faulty baked good, but it wouldn't be considered a cake. So similarly, with the elements of art, without these elements, I don't think we could consider it art. So in every piece of artwork, we've got line, shape, form, color, texture, space, and value. So these are all principles that must be present within art. So to transition, we don't have to view this right now, but this is going to be the elements of art just kind of revisited. I won't make us watch this because you should, hopefully, if you've been keeping up with class, understand some of these principles. So this is going to be the artwork we talk about first. It's called Swinging by Kadinsky. And I want us to just get some first impressions on this piece right here. So ask ourselves what we like, what we don't like, maybe some things that stand out to us, just some general first impressions whenever we first see the piece, right? So once you guys get a minute, we're going to talk about lines. So we need to ask ourselves these things, or just these are some guidelines. So lines, as we see, there's vertical, horizontal, zigzag, diagonal, curved, thick, thin, wavy. There's just so many different ways that we can use lines. And automatically my eye's drawn to this one right here. What would we call these? Some wavy lines. They look like little dancing snakes. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Woo. And maybe down here, ooh, I see we've got this really thick horizontal line because it's going from that way. And what else can we see? More horizontal. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, this is not loading. There we go. Oh my gosh. Even more horizontal lines, this one. And this one right here. So what else we got? We've got shape. Oh, I already drawn it. Here's some different shapes that I'm seeing. I see a rectangle right here. Oh my goodness. Bye, friend. Right here. So it's got this nice rectangular shape. I see some circles. Some semicircles. See a big old triangle right here. That one's the first one I saw, actually. More circles. I think that the color of this one's really nice, but we'll go over color in a minute. More circles. There's just a lot of circles. Oh my gosh. Next, we've got form. So form, typically when we think of form, we think of, let me get my pen, three-dimensional shapes. So when we think three-dimensional, we think of like cubes and stuff because they've got depth, they've got space, they take up, they take up space. But Paintings can also have form, but they can be implied, so it could look like it's coming off the page. But I would say, and I would ask my students, do you guys think this has any sort of like coming off the page? Does it feel like it's coming off, or does it feel like it's ingrained into one singular page? And I think most of everybody would agree that it doesn't really feel like there's like a background or like a foreground. There's just one page. So, and then we're gonna go over color. Again, I'll ask my students maybe what are primary colors. So the red, yellow, blue. This is kind of a review. Secondary, orange, green, purple, and then tertiary. Boom, boom. Oh, it's not circling. But you guys get the idea. Oh, there we go. This guy too. Okay. I just want to act up. But first of all, first thing I see right here is this lovely green. I think it draws my eyes in. Ooh, and then this nice orange. That one's a nice orange. Ooh, and then maybe this yellow right here. It's just a lot of colors. I don't really see any purples, unless we consider this one. Just kind of like a lot of black too. But you can kind of see like a lot of everything, honestly. And I think this artist Kadinsky uses it really nicely. So it's up to the students to determine how they feel they executed it, but to each their own, right? Okay, so texture, once again, can be what we call implied. So if it doesn't really exist, so if it looks like perhaps the hair is rendered on like a cat, but it's a painting, so it doesn't actually feel like hair, versus if it's a sculpture of a cat and they use authentic fur, we can say that that's a real texture. So in this painting, I guess I pose to you guys, do any of these things apply? Do you think it's got like a soft look? Maybe it's chalk-like. I would say it's chalk-like. Painterly, does it look furry? I wouldn't say it looks furry. Maybe it looks bumpy. Ooh, bumps. I don't know. Ooh, and these look sharp. Maybe these edges that's pointing down, these look sharp. And that could also be a point of texture. So space. Would we say that there's, and I'm going to refer to an assignment we had earlier this year, positive and negative space. So I had you guys really delve into the difference between negative versus positive space. So negative's kind of like the background versus positive, which kind of has more of that visual information. I guess that doesn't really follow this one right here, because the more visually interest is around in the background versus the negative, which really has this more silhouette figure. But just in reference to this earlier project we did, I guess we could consider how they use space. So I would personally consider this to be some of that negative space, but it's kind of crowded. There's a lot of visual interest, and I think it kind of hogs up a lot of the space. So value, so I kind of made this black and white so we can really dissect it, some of the spaces and how they use darker values. So are there bright spots or are there darker spots of the piece? And I would say that there's a lot of darker spots right here. There's some brighter spots, but they don't really use this like solid white. So is there like a color that is a focal point? I would say maybe the blacks down here. I wouldn't say that there's very much white that like draws your eye in, but just to kind of look at it, and I think that grayscales really help us figure out the values. So to think about the 7 elements of art, how would you really apply that understanding to an art piece by yourself? So I want you to spend a minute to kind of consider some of the elements that we talked about and how we applied it to our understanding of Kandinsky's work. And then finally, I want us to sit down with this piece right here. It's called Circle Within a Circle. And I want us to apply some of the elements that we have learned. I think at least two. Yes. So two of the elements to this particular piece of work.